Hi, I'm Alan Ross. I'm here at the IEEE PES T&D, that's a lot of acronyms, conference. This is the 2020 version that is actually being held in 2022. These interviews that we're conducting is with thought leaders on the future of the power industry. So enjoy. My guest right now for the IEEE conference is Scott Reed. Scott is the founder, chairman, CEO, president of MVA, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
MVA Diagnostics. I'm going to ask you a little bit about what the company does, but before we get there, one of the things that we're doing with these interviews, Scott, is we're trying to find out what the future looks like. So you have to put your futuristic hat on, and as a founder and CEO of a company, you've probably always been looking at what's next. But as it relates to the IEEE world, what is next? What's coming in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years within the electrical system power grid world?
Well, obviously the infrastructure bill, I think, will pump a lot of money into our industry and upgrading the grid. But more importantly, I think introducing technology is going to become ever more present in our industry. And one of the things we did at MVA is we came up with an app that's patented. So when a customer samples a transformer, they can automatically take a picture of the nameplate, it finds the asset in their system, they order their tests, and they ship off the samples to us. I think about online technology, you know, in terms of online monitoring, PD monitoring. I think we're going to continue to see integration into our system so that we can constantly monitor what's going on with our electrical grid.
Okay, so you mentioned two things, money and technology, right? And wherever money flows, technology goes. And that, you're right, there's a lot of things that are happening, a lot of changes that are taking place in and around the industry. Part of those changes are going to be about new generation. We're going to need, we just can't live with the same amount of power gen that we've got now, especially with the electrification of transportation. As a result of that, we're going to see wind, solar, there's that war between fossil fuels and others. I mean, even the nuclear industry is trying to make a comeback in this country. They're doing well in Europe, but not necessarily here. But how does that change the technology in your mind?
It's about access to data. And so I think, you know, we're not just looking at renewables when we think about our industry, although it's becoming a bigger player in our industry, but we also have to upgrade our aging infrastructure, our transmission, our substations, our power transformers. So I think the more data we can introduce and develop, we can better predict and prevent online failures.
You know that I think it was 2 years ago, the National Grid, the company in New York, not the London one, hired more data scientists than they did double E's, electrical engineers, which is amazing. You are an electrical engineer. Where'd you go to school?
North Carolina State.
NC State. I went to Georgia Tech.
Did you?
Yeah, we're in the ACC. We used to be #1 in basketball.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. That's exactly right. But so your company, when you founded it, how long ago?
2014.
2014. You've grown pretty much, because I see you a lot of different places. You've grown quite a lot since then. How is MVA positioning yourself for this new future that we're talking about with technology? I know you've got an app, I know you're doing, but what are you looking at for your future?
It's about service, and it's about quality. And when I think about our companies, you know, whether we're on our field side, where we're installing or rebuilding a transformer, or on the lab side, analyzing the data and to guide the customer as to what their options are for, you know, taking an outage or, you know, extending, keep the transformer in service. It's about being a service to our vendors. And I think with our business, we're nationwide just because of the type of services that we provide. But it's more than that. You know, I serve as the Insulating Fluid Subcommittee Chairman, and I'm heading up a panel this week about the new DGA standard that we've introduced for C57104, which is mineral oil filled transformer. Right. It's being able to understand the information and being able to explain it to the customer so that there's value for them.
I think it took 6 years to develop the new DGA handbook, right? What is wrong? How 6 years the world changes? But I do understand it. I know the IEC, Seagray came up with a similar but not quite the same standard, which is a little confusing for engineers. But thank you for doing that. That's another question I'm going to ask. You're on 2 committees. You chair one, and you're on the other. You chair both.
I serve as the chairman of the Insulating Fluids Subcommittee, which oversees all fluids.
Okay.
And we are introducing new fluids into the guide, right? We're looking at ester fluids, right? So that's, again, we're talking about technology.
Right.
But I also serve as the chairman of the installation and maintenance of liquid filled power transformers, which is my background.
Right. Okay, and so there's a reason that you do that. I've served on IEEE committees now for the last decade, and I don't know why we give so much time and energy and don't get paid, right? Why do we do that?
That's a great question, and it's we all wonder at times, right? For me personally, I get great satisfaction out of helping shape the industry and contributing to our industry, however small it is, but to help lead our industry as we continue to evolve.
That's excellent. And we're going to need more of that. One of the passions that I have, I'm on this Grid Edge committee. We have every other year in between the Power Energy Society T&D conferences, we are now introducing a new big conference called the Grid Edge Conference. It will be in San Diego next year. I hope to see you there. But again, that's now the committee work that I'm doing along with what we're doing here. And what I would ask you, speak to me as if I am just coming out of school. I'm not an academic. I don't want to do academic stuff. I'm going to work in the utility industry or in our power industry. Why join IEEE? Why be part of IEEE?
I just had this conversation at a show with a young engineer from Virginia that I was encouraging her to get involved with the Transformer Committee. And I think the biggest advantage of being a member is not only seeing the new guides being developed, but the ability to interact with those who have been in the industry for 40 years, who have tremendous knowledge that you can rub shoulders with and ask questions. When there's dialogue during the actual meeting, and then afterwards you can approach them afterwards. You can learn a lot of information. I just think there's a lot of value for our young engineers, and I really encourage them to get involved with the committee.
Well, that's excellent. So you heard it. If you're a young engineer, what you need to do is get involved with IEEE, get involved with a good company. So, Scott, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it very much. I thank you so much for what you do for IEEE.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay. Have a good day.